The intellectual giant, the legacy of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Imagine a world where the constraints of racial oppression throttled the very breath of potential, a world where a young black man rises from the dust of poverty-stricken Georgia to redefine the course of an entire nation's history. This is the world of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. His profound intellect and unwavering determination carved paths through the formidable walls of segregation, leaving a legacy that continues to echo through the corridors of time. His life journey is not just a testament to overcoming adversity, but a beacon of intellectual prowess and radical thinking that challenged and transformed societal norms. Elijah Muhammad's journey began amidst adversity. Born in 1897 in Sandersville, Georgia, his early years were steeped in the harsh realities of racial segregation and poverty. Yet, these very hardships forged his indomitable spirit. Dropping out of school at the age of 8 did not quench his thirst for knowledge. Instead, it ignited a lifelong quest for self-education. Armed only with a dictionary, he embarked on a self-taught journey that laid the groundwork for his later philosophies. His early life underscored a pivotal theme: the transformative power of education. This belief became the cornerstone of his teachings, advocating that enlightenment is the first step towards empowerment. Elijah Muhammad was profoundly influenced by the teachings of Master Fard Muhammad, who he met in the early 1930s. This encounter was a turning point, deeply impacting his worldview and spiritual understanding. Master Fard Muhammad's teachings, emphasizing God and man, heaven on earth, racial pride, self-reliance, and the reinterpretation of religious beliefs, shaped Elijah's philosophical outlook. These ideas would later crystallize into the core doctrines of the Nation of Islam. His philosophical journey illustrates the impact of mentorship and intellectual exchange in shaping one's ideas and actions, setting the stage for his transformative leadership. In 1934, Elijah Muhammad rose to leadership in the Nation of Islam, a pivotal moment that would redefine his life and impact millions. Under his guidance, the movement grew exponentially, spreading across the United States with a message of black empowerment and religious identity. He introduced key principles like the importance of racial identity, self-sufficiency, and moral reform. These principles weren't just teachings, they were a call to action against systemic oppression aimed at uplifting African American communities. The Nation of Islam under his leadership became a beacon for those marginalized by mainstream society, providing not only spiritual guidance but also a blueprint for economic and social empowerment. Elijah Muhammad wasn't just a leader, he was a thinker, a philosopher who dared to envision a different world for his people. His intellectual contributions were both radical and revolutionary, challenging the status quo and offering new paradigms. His teachings on the reality of God, economic independence, and self-reliance resonated deeply within communities that had been historically disenfranchised. He preached that real freedom came from economic power, urging followers to own their businesses and control their economic destinies. Moreover, his perspective on education as a tool for liberation transformed many lives, inspiring individuals to pursue knowledge as a means to uplift themselves and their communities. While contemporaries like Martin Luther King Jr. championed integration, Elijah Muhammad advocated for total separation. His stance during the civil rights movement was clear empowerment through independence rather than assimilation. His teachings influenced not just the course of the movement, but also the broader discourse on civil rights in America. While some criticized his separatist views, others found in them a powerful call for self-determination. His impact extended beyond his lifetime, influencing various movements and ideologies that seek to address racial inequalities through self-empowerment and community solidarity. Elijah Muhammad was a pioneer in advocating for black economic independence. Under his leadership, the Nation of Islam ventured into numerous businesses, including bakeries, farms, and retail stores, which provided employment and economic stability for many African Americans. These ventures were more than just businesses, they were practical applications of his teachings on self-reliance and economic empowerment. His vision was clear: build your economy to build your freedom. This model of economic self-sufficiency not only transformed individual lives, but also provided a template for how marginalized communities could achieve financial autonomy and dignity. One cannot discuss Elijah Muhammad's legacy without mentioning Malcolm X and Minister Louis Farrakhan, perhaps his most famous protege. Under his mentorship, Malcolm X transformed from a criminal into a charismatic and influential leader. Minister Farrakhan would go on to lead the largest mass demonstration in American history, the Million Man March. Mr. Muhammad's ability to nurture and influence key figures speaks volumes about his leadership and vision. These individuals went on to become powerful voices for the African American community, carrying forward his message of empowerment and self-determination. His mentorship model continues to inspire leaders today, emphasizing the importance of guidance, wisdom, and the transmission of knowledge. Like all influential figures, Elijah Muhammad faced his share of controversies and criticisms. His views on race and his leadership style were often at the center of debates and disagreements within and outside the African American community. Critics pointed to his authoritarian leadership and some of his more divisive racial teachings. However, supporters argued that these were responses to the extreme racial prejudices embedded in American society and were necessary for motivating a disenfranchised community. Understanding these controversies within the context of his broader goals provides a balanced view of his strategies and their impacts. Education was a cornerstone of Elijah Muhammad's philosophy. He established educational programs that were designed not just to impart knowledge, but to build confidence and self-awareness. Schools under the Nation of Islam focused on teaching African American history, religious studies, and practical skills, contributing significantly to community development and empowerment. These initiatives demonstrated his belief in education as a transformative tool, essential for the upliftment and independence of the African American community. At the core of Elijah Muhammad's teachings was a unique spiritual and theological perspective. He preached that the black man was God, a radical idea which sought to instill racial pride and divine connection in his followers. This spiritual philosophy was intertwined with his social and political teachings, providing a comprehensive worldview that addressed both the spiritual and earthly needs of African Americans. His reinterpretation of religious beliefs challenged conventional narratives and offered a source of spiritual empowerment for many. The legacy of Elijah Muhammad is monumental. His teachings and leadership style continue to resonate, inspiring new generations to think critically about racial identity, economic empowerment, and self-sufficiency. From community leaders to scholars, many still draw upon his insights to address contemporary issues. His legacy is not confined to the past. It is a living, evolving influence that still prompts dialogue and action. Elijah Muhammad's approach to empowerment can be juxtaposed with other global figures like Mahatma Gandhi and Nelson Mandela. While each led distinctly different movements, their core principles of self-reliance and dignity echo Muhammad's teachings. Unlike Gandhi's nonviolent resistance, Muhammad's narrative was one of economic self-defense. And while Mandela sought racial reconciliation, Muhammad pushed for racial independence. This comparative analysis sheds light on diverse strategies of leadership and empowerment, each tailored to its unique historical and cultural context. In today's complex social fabric, the teachings of Elijah Muhammad about self-education, economic independence, and community solidarity are more relevant than ever. They offer timeless solutions to modern problems such as racial inequality and economic disparity. Reflecting on his philosophies, one can see how they provide a blueprint for addressing these enduring challenges, advocating for a society where empowerment and self-reliance are accessible to all. Elijah Muhammad was more than a leader. He was a visionary whose intellect crafted a legacy of empowerment and transformation. His teachings transcend time, continuing to inspire and challenge us to envision and strive for a world of equality, dignity, and self-sufficiency. As we reflect on his life and work, we find not only historical significance, but also contemporary relevance. His journey reminds us of the power of education, the strength of self-belief, and the impact of determined leadership. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad's legacy is a testament to the profound influence of intellectual prowess in shaping our world.